So, at the start of this series, we hear a narrating voice, which tells us that in a planet named Falan during Ice Age survival became difficult for mankind. Because then the planet was ruled by monsters and spirits. But 2,501 years after that ice age, an extraordinary phenomenon took place, which was the rapid movement of an asteroid filled with demons towards the fairy continent of Falan. Now, watching the asteroid coming closer to Falan, the masters of the monsters and spirits asks everyone to refine a divine artifact called 7 divine beads, so that they can save their planet from the impact of that asteroid. By using their brains, humans were able to refine those divine beads and they tried to stop the asteroid by using them. But those beads only managed to make this asteroid slow. As a result, the fairy continent got divided into 6 parts and 7 seas were created on that planet. Besides, pieces from that asteroid sprinkled everywhere. Now that same narrating voice tells us that these 7 seas and 6 domains together are called Land of Miracles. Next, the scene changes and we see the wisdom city of the magic domain, where in the divine temple of the city, a ceremony was being held. Here, small kids got to know what they would do in the city in future. Then we see a small kid named Dave, whom his teacher sends towards a divine light to know the very same thing. After Dave reaches that light begins to glow more brightly. Seeing this, the teacher and other kids become horrified. Right, THN, a book comes out of that divine light. Seeing that, the teacher happily announces that Wisdom City has found a new law enforcer. On the other side, we see the awakening ocean in the blue domain, where the parents of a small kid named Mike takes him to a place. Seeing the place, Mike, the small kid, becomes very happy. Because that was a special sea of the blue domain filled with so many beautiful fishes. Then, Mike's father tells him that there are 376 seas in the blue domain. But this is the biggest sea among them. That's why we have brought you here, so that with the help of the fishes in this sea you can find the element of your powers, which will help you maintain happiness and freedom in our city in the near future. But Mike does not pay attention to his father and says, "Can we eat these fishes?" Hearing this, his father becomes astonished and says, "You are just like your mother." This makes Mike's mom angry. So Mike's father calms her down and tells Mike that these are special types of fishes which will give you the power of their elements. For example, they gave such power to your mom and me. Hearing these, Mike says, "What should I do to get the power of those elements?" Then, Mike's mom kicks him into the sea. Seeing this, Mike's father tells her, "Is he really your son or not?" And Mike's mom replies, "Mike was going into the sea anyway. But maybe this can lead us to getting a genius." Then they see a light shining in the magic domain. And they realize that a new genius has come to the magic domain. Then, his mom tells Mike's father that my son will be more genius than them. Then, they both look at the sea, but cannot find Mike. So, Mike's mom begins to worry. Then, the sky becomes dark and a tide comes out of the sea, where Mike was playing with 5 different fishes with 5 different elements. This makes Mike's mom and father very happy. Because, Mike was going to have the power of 5 elements. This meant, Mike really is a genius. Then all of those fishes transforms into powers and enters into Mike. Now we move to a period many years later, where Mike was an adult now. And because of being too handsome, he was very famous among the girls in the city. Next, a guy attacks Mike, who was Mike's opponent. Because Mike was participating in a competition in the city. Mike saved himself very easily from the attack of his opponent. And attacks him with the power of one of his elements. That guy has to fight hard to save himself. Next, Mike's opponent tries to punch him. But Mike saves himself again. Being frustrated, that guy throws a special weapon named Bajra towards Mike. But Mike, using the power of his second element, lightning, destroys that weapon. Next, Mike rapidly runs towards that guy. Then that guy says, "If I knew earlier that you were in level 5 power of your elements, I would not even decide to fight you." Then Mike's father calls him by ringing a bell. After Mike hears the bell, he accepts defeat in the competition and starts walking to his father. While walking there, Mike thinks that he has become too popular in this city. Besides, this fight was boring for him too. Now, Mike enters his father's palace. On the other hand, we see Dave, who have grown big and handsome by now. So, Dave's teacher calls him to give him a task. And he asks him, "Have you heard about the 7 divine beads?" Dave replies, "Yes." Now we see that Mike's father asks Mike the same question and says, "Our ancestors had already written about that asteroid in a book." By reading the book, the masters of monsters and spirits brought the animals living on land and in sea together so that they can bring special treasure from heaven. Firstly, they brought a colorful lotus flower from the heaven which they combined with the blood of 12 monsters and spirits to make the 7 divine beads. The beads failed to stop the asteroid, but they decreased the speed of that asteroid. Now Dave's teacher tell him that due to the collision between that asteroid and this planet, the 7 divine beads must have scattered in different places. Dave then asks him, "Why are you telling me all these?" Then, Dave's teacher tells him that out of the 7 beads, Dave has to find the perilous bead and bring it back. Meanwhile, Mike's father tell him the same thing. But Mike does not do it. So, Mike's father says to him, "Magic Domain 2 will surely send someone to bring back that bead. That's why you must go there on the other side." Dave asks his teacher, "Why are you sending me?" Then, Dave's teacher replies that due to Dave's genius, Dave is one of the best candidates to bring back the perilous bead. Then, Dave asks his teacher, "What is so special about the perilous bead?" His teacher replies that the bead is very special. "So, I will send 500 soldiers from my city with you. But, the island, where the bead is, you will have to go there alone." Lastly, Dave agrees to bring back that bead. On the other hand, Mike gets bored by his father and falls asleep. His father gets angry at him. But, Mike does not agree to go there. Mike's father asks him, "Won't you follow my orders?" Mike says that it is the freedom land of this city. That's why nobody can order anyone here. Mike's father tries to make his understand that the bead is very much important for him. Mike says, "But I don't want to bet my life on it." So, his father gets an idea and says, "Your mom said you have become an adult. So, you should get married. But I said no to your mother. Now I think I should say yes to her. Because you don't listen to anything I say." Suddenly, Mike falls down on his father's legs and agrees to go on this mission. Because he did not want to marry yet. As a result, his father becomes very happy and tells him, "Perilous bead is very important for us. So, you can use the powers from all your elements to bring it back." Mike becomes happy because his father never let him use all his powers. Mike's father says, "You are exactly like your mother, who never simply agrees to anything." But Mike's mom hears this and starts calling his father. This makes Mike's father nervous. Next, Mike starts towards the bead island by singing and standing on a fish. But due to singing, he fails to see the boat ahead. Dave was there. As a result, Mike had to suddenly put on the brakes. And he fell into the water. Now, Mike examines Dave and says, "You are from the magic domain." Dave says to Mike, "You must be from blue domain." Mike says, "Yes," and says to Dave, "Leave this place, because that perilous bead is mine." Then, Dave shows Mike his own level, that he is in level 5. And, Mike shows him that he can control water. So, Dave uses his book to bring out the divine statue. And orders Mike to leave his path. Mike says, "Only a 7-layered divine statue. But I think, you had to spend a lot of time to learn this too." Dave becomes angry, and orders his 500 soldiers behind him to insert power into that statue. They follow the order. Then, an energy ball comes out of the statue and rushes towards Mike. But Mike saves himself by using his wings and attacks Dave with fire element. But Dave stops that fireball by creating a shield, but he becomes shocked by seeing Mike controlling so many elements. Mike tells Dave, "You are not worthy of being called a genius." Dave says, "It is I, who will capture the perilous bead," and simultaneously attacks several times on Mike. Mike tries to save himself, but fails and falls into the river. But Mike comes out of the water and tries to attack Dave with lightning, but he fails to do so. And Dave throws multiple attacks towards Mike. Mike saves himself by creating a shield. And reaching that island, asks Dave, "Who are you? You are attacking me with so many soldiers." Dave, then, tells his name and says, "I am from the magic domain." Mike replies, "Wherever you are from, perilous bead is mine only." Dave says the same too. At this point, we see a girl in a boat nearby. By watching them fight, she says, let these fools fight, and in the meantime, I will capture the perilous bead. And right there, this part ends.